it's genuinely surprising to me the extent to which men and women struggle to understand each other today. It's like there's a great schism, a canyon between us, and that divide isn't being healed. It is growing rapidly, and it is incredibly disheartening because can two things please be admitted? Which is, one, I am a man. I will never understand what you as a woman go through. I would never understand what a woman goes through because it's the "To Kill a Mockingbird" quote. I can't walk a day in your shoes, and so I can listen, empathize, but I'll never fully understand your pain. Such is the case with being human. You'll never understand what any other person goes through fully, despite how much you empathize with them. But I can also recognize that that's true with women relative to men, women relative to myself. And one of the most glaring ways that I can see which women struggle to understand men is the derision that men face. Derision is contemptuous ridicule. Being ridiculed not with levity, but from a place of hatred. Being mocked from a place of hatred. And specifically the derision, the reason for the derision, which is so disheartening and absurd, which is that there's two paths that men can take. Men can walk the normal path that society tells them to walk and that society wants them to walk. You go to high school or grade school. When you graduate, you get a job or you go to university. But eventually you join the workforce. You get a job, fit into a mold, you cut your hair, you wear a suit, you be who the world wants you to be. And I have lived that path, and that path emptied me. The longer that I went down the path, it's that quote, most men live lives of quiet desperation. My life became emptier and emptier the further I went. And the second path that a man can walk is he can step out of the social mold. He can try to forge a path for himself. And it is incredibly arduous. You'll face terrible, terrible things because now I'm walking that path. And I've talked about the being evicted, sleeping outside homeless. Now I've fallen back and I'm even living with my parents. All of these things. But what isn't talked about is the derision. And honestly, the derision might be the hardest part of all of it. The contemptuous ridicule that comes from both men and women. And truthfully, I saw this recently in a video that I created. I understand it's the internet, but it's representative of a greater problem. I made a video about the most innocuous topic, which is a breakup that I experienced. And I thought that would be innocent. I thought that would be a fairly light topic, just me getting something off my heart. And the extent to which I realized the topic itself, the topic being the dynamics between men and women, is an absolute minefield. It was disheartening to see. Because I told this story, which is that I walked that first path of doing what society told me to do. I was miserable, and so instead I tried to forge my own path. And when I was in that path, I met a woman. I didn't initiate the conversation. I eventually asked her to be my girlfriend. and we broke up, and then I continued to try to make things work. She severed it with me. In that video, I took all of the responsibility for it, and the derision, the reaction of derision. I was reading the reactions and I was like, man, these reactions, it's like my video and the reactions were like two ships passing in the night. The reaction didn't line up with what was said in the video. And the reason why I bring that up relative to derision is because I took this leap of faith without malevolence. There was nothing, there wasn't anything evil that I was doing. I was trying to, and I still am trying to build a life simply that I wanted to live. And normal human life is relationships, breakups, dynamics between men and women. But the reactions was that women were acting like I was a scumbag, and men were acting like I was weak. Like they were attacking, but from two different directions. And the reason why that's so disheartening isn't because of like potential hurt that would cause me. It's comments on a video, it doesn't really matter. But what that represents regarding where we are at socially in society. Because I know that it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If you try to pursue a life that you want to live, you're going to be ridiculed. Something I didn't talk about in the video, I mentioned that there was a war within me. There were integral players involved, her and I. Let it be known, there was other players involved. And one of the players, because I was a man living in a van, referred to me as a stray dog. And recommended that I be avoided because I was a stray dog, man living in a van. And so I hear that, I'm like, all right, stray dog, I guess you're kind of right. I'm not everything that she needs me to be right now. I need to get traction. I need to get my life together. And over that whole 8-month period, I was 8-month year, I was fighting to get my life together, pleading with God, God, help me get my life together, help me get traction, I don't want to lose her. I don't want to be a stray dog. I want to be everything that she needs me to be. But I just couldn't do it. No matter how hard I tried, I could not do it. And I made a video at the end when I finally sold my van called I Cried Out to God, but all I heard was silence. And it was about everything that I'd lost during that time. But really it was about her. And I mentioned her, but I didn't talk about it too much because the wound was like a week old at that point. And I guess what's so disheartening is that I know the reason why the women were angry at me within that video and blaming me and things like that, which is because within this world there are genuine psychopaths. It is the Pareto distribution though. 1% of men are responsible for 80% of the pain. 1% of women are responsible for 80% of the pain. And so many women have been hurt, and then they look at relationships and breakups and things like that, and because they've encountered literal psychopaths, who, these men, their only intention is to manipulate women. They dress as chameleons. They try to take advantage of women, and that's literally their goal. And some women are the same thing, but in women form, and they hurt men. And so it goes both ways. But what happens is when you blame all women or blame all men, that's like, it's tragic, because all of the pain is being caused by such a small population of people. But that small population is loud and prolific in their evil, and then innocent people get blamed for it. And I guess the reason why I bring that up is because I don't know, I'm just on here talking about my life and things I've dealt with and things I've struggled with. And I'm not that guy. But the issue is, if you get on the internet and you ridicule people for being honest and talking about vulnerable things, everybody wants men to be better, men to take responsibility for things. But then if a man does that and takes responsibility, and then he gets ridiculed into oblivion, you incentivize psychopathy. Meaning normal empathetic men are just going to be gone. They're going to tap out. They're going to say, this is not the game that I want to play. I'd rather just go back into isolation. And the people who rise up are those without any empathy, because they don't care about the derision. I don't know, masochistic maybe they like it. But the pain of it is what this means for dynamics, the growing schism, the division between men and women, because we've got political divisions, we've got divisions between humans at every level, we've got fragmentation within at the level of individual. But the thing that is so obvious that needs to be healed is the individual fragmentation, yes, but also the solution is certainly not to hate all men. The solution is not to hate all women. That just seems self-evident to me. Right. So, I don't know. I don't really know what to do with that information. It's just a tragic thing where there is a divide that needs to be healed, but it's such a landmine, or a minefield rather. It's hard to talk about, actually, because you're almost, no matter what you say, you're going to be saying the wrong thing. But you have to talk about it, because otherwise it won't be healed. Right. And for now, that's all that I have.